Yeah. Okay, so I did my presentation on social media and self-image. First off, just the phones, tablets, they're like supercomputers in your pocket, super like revolutionary. I mean, you can access anything from the internet to like social medias, games, whatever you want, really. And that is good, but it also comes with consequences. And most of my topic today is going to be on social media. And so, first off, I want to explain what social media is. It's pretty much just a place to share ideas or like videos or pictures about yourself or about something. And so what this does is makes one of people share things about them, but it can also lead to like get into it later, but things like comparisons. But first off, I want to talk about what it does to to make you addicted. It's the dopamine hits are pretty bad. Every time you scroll, you get something new. You don't know what you're gonna get. It's kind of I saw something where it's like gambling. It's pretty much just unpredictable, and you just keep on doing it. And the dopamine you get from each one of these scrolls or these videos is just new content, and it's really amusing. And I mean, I'm sure you've all like been a victim to doom scrolling, which I definitely have been a victim to. And it's pretty much just something mindless that you can keep on scrolling and keep on doing it. And these dopamine hits are similar to like when you consume food, when you buy something, when you have a good social interaction, etc. And these apps don't help. They're designed to hook you, and that's how they make their money. Every single like interaction, whatever it is, all makes them revenue, and so they're going to feed you something to make you stay on that site. So that also leads to the doom scrolling. And these algorithms, they are super smart, super advanced, so they're all designed just they'll hook you in like that. And then the short form videos, there are long form videos that are easy to get, like YouTube series or like anything like that, but most of the time it's from the short form videos, whether that be TikTok, Instagram Reels, whatever. Um, this is a big part of it for me, especially was the fear of missing out. A lot of the times, people want to get social media because they believe that something is exclusive, like a trend or a meme or like an invitation, like on Snapchat. They can only access that through social media. And this was honestly a big thing for me. When I was in middle school, all my friends had social media and I didn't. And so I was always wanting to go get social media so I can see this one video or see this trend or whatever it is. And I felt like I was missing out for sure. And then like I didn't have Snapchat, so like any invitation or hangout that was on there, I wasn't going to, and so I was always really fearing that I was missing out. And this leads to a lot of kids feeling pressured, which I can relate to, pressured to download social media. And you can ask him back there. I would beg him almost every single day to get social media because I was feeling like I was missing out. And that's just honestly though, it was a great thing that he kept me off social media, but I will get to more of that later. All right, and then the short attention spans. This hits back to where the short form content. It's more of just like you're scrolling. It's very amusing. You're not thinking about anything. It's just constant, just entertainment, and that also leads to constant distractions. And when you have to sit down and do something like study or do a big paper or project or something, it makes it really hard to lock in, especially since it's boring. Like I'm sure people in English 101 right now trying to read Frankenstein compared to scrolling on social media is pretty hard. So yeah, pretty much it's just hard to really lock into something, especially if you're used to just constantly scrolling and distracting yourself. And it delivers instant results compared to having to wait, like trying to learn how to do something, maybe like picking up like me personally, like learning guitar or like learning how to play a sport, something like that. You have to take time and patience and really work at it instead of just getting everything instantly. And I already hit on the studying. And it says this is a good fact. It said the average user spends 2.5 hours per day on social media apps, and this accumulates to over 5 years of your life. So if you keep on scrolling, and let's be real, a lot of people do it more than 2.5 hours. Yeah. So it's it accumulates to 5 years of your life if you just keep on scrolling and scrolling. And 1 in 4 users say that social media interferes with schoolwork or work responsibilities. Unrealistic standards. This is a big one. So on Instagram, it really is the main thing. people put their life on to their social media platforms. But it could be a vacation, could be prom, could be whatever you think, and it sets an expectation of like everyone has to be perfect. Or look at me, I went to Italy and experienced this awesome thing, or I went to whatever, and it makes you feel like, oh, I'm missing out on those opportunities, or oh, I'm missing out doing this or doing that, and it can honestly lead to really bad thoughts. It can bad comparison, and it's like you have to be perfect. A lot of people expect you to also put your perfect self online. Nobody's really vulnerable, and everyone's just like, oh, look at me, look at what I'm doing, and it leads to a lot of insecurity, low self esteem, body image issues. I did have a big problem with that when after football, I tried to lose some weight because I didn't need it anymore. I wanted to get in shape for the summer, and it took me down a pretty bad rabbit hole. I would compare myself to other people. I'd be looking online like, oh, look at them, look at how successful they are, look at how like in shape they are, and it really destroyed my mental. And it was just not a good thing that I had to kind of crawl out of. And it's all just because I kept comparing myself and looking at these perfect people when in reality, like they also have messed up things about them and they're not perfect. And I really like what Paul says in Second Corinthians, saying, we do not dare classify or compare ourselves with some who commend themselves. When they measure themselves by themselves and compare themselves with themselves, they are not wise. We will not boast beyond what the Lord has given us, but will boast in the area of ministry God has assigned us, an area that extends to you. And pretty much with me, I really like this verse because it was like, God has given you some gifts and given you opportunities, and you shouldn't be comparing with others and being like, oh, I wish I had this or I wish I had that when you've been given so much and you have so much to be thankful for. And it really changed my perspective to being like in a selfish way, wanting to better myself, to being like more godly centered. Like I just want to be a healthier person, but also be healthier in God. And then next one, depression and anxiety. 69% of adults, 81% of teens, and 40% of children between 8 and 12 use social media. That's so many people. I mean, honestly, it probably could be higher than this. And it's everyone seems like they have social media nowadays. And this honestly can lead to bad things because, again, like the fear of missing out thing that I talked about earlier. And also, it's an addiction. It's like anything. I mean, food, gambling, whatever you want. It's an addiction, and a lot of the anxiety comes from that. You'll feel like, oh, I need to check my phone, see if I got any messages or see if I got any notifications from anything, and then you're like constantly checking it or constantly like opening your phone. Like maybe when you wake up, you just go straight to your phone and go straight to that like Instagram, trying to or Snapchat or whatever, and that's based on your addiction, and it does cause anxiety when you can't check it. Like say you go to a church camp and you can't have your phone, definitely can be like, oh, I really want to check my phone. This sucks. And then also loss of sleep. I mean, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's been stayed up late nights just scrolling, just amusing, just entertainment. So, and then loneliness. Again, what I kind of said earlier with like putting yourself out as perfect, you see those people and you start to compare yourself, and it's like, oh man, I wish I was in that situation. I wish I had those people, and then you kind of start feeling lonely because you feel like you don't have those people in your life. False information. Now, this honestly is kind of funny because I have seen this firsthand. You'll see a video and be like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I hate this. Why are they doing this without checking it at all, without fact checking it, without background checking? And then they just form an opinion on it, like a super strong opinion in seconds, just because of one TikTok video or something that they saw, whether that be health, political issues, whatever. And I feel like that's a more prominent thing than we think. I feel like a lot of people get their views off of TikTok or off of Instagram or influencers. And fake news, it's pretty scary. Fake news spreads way faster than real news because, again, going back to the algorithm thing, they want clicks, they want interaction, and real news can be boring and it's not like world shaking. So it's not going to get as many interactions as like a crazy fake news story. So like these fake news are making them money, and so they're getting pumped out to everybody, and so it just spreads like wildfire. And yeah, they reward engagement, not truth. And I put First Timothy in here. It says, in later times, some will depart from the faith, giving heed to deceiving spirits and doctrines of demons, through the hypocrisy of men who speak lies, whose consequences are seared with hot iron. And it suggests that future people will turn away from their faith following these false teachings. And just honestly be careful, watch yourself, watch what you're watching, because it definitely can form your opinion and just you can get carried away. And then when is the right age to get a phone? So a lot of kids do get a phone before 8 years old, which I think is a little scary. I think it should be way later than that. Me personally, oh shoot, sorry. Me personally, I think that phones should be given out when the kid is ready, and that really is kind of a eyeball situation. Um, there's no like definite answer, but like I would want my kid to have a solid foundation before he gets access to all of that stuff. I feel like that's part of my personal testimony is that I feel like I had a good grounding and like understood things and kind of knew my way around like just myself and stuff. And then I was put out on social media. So I kind of had that lens of like, oh, this could be fake, all like the loneliness, perfection, all that I've talked about. And I kind of already knew that. And so I would just feel like you want to raise your child to have a good foundation and know him or herself before they get put out on social media because of how dangerous it is. And yeah, and then solution, there's no easy solution. This is more focused on like what can we do instead of like how can we like raise our kids to be that way. Most of the time it's more about a change in like I guess habits. You want to create good habits that benefit you, like build good habits, guard your mind and guard your heart. Really, especially with like the fake news and everything, all the wild spread stuff on social media. You really want to take it from a biblical perspective and like really know what you're looking at. And I feel like you need to watch what you're watching, definitely what you're taking in because it will affect you. And again, like taking breaks, media fasts, like time limits, just so you can limit yourself from that doom scroll or whatever that addiction that you have and kind of help yourself with it. And what I really found or helpful is replacing screen time with social activities or spiritual activities. So like really getting trying to get closer with God, praying, like trying to have a relationship with God has really helped, honestly. Even like reading my Bible or praying and just talking to people about it. And then also just like spending time with friends. Like instead of like sitting around, I really like to go interact with people and go hang out with people. And I feel like that's just so much more beneficial. And especially it helps you just talk to more people if you're not on your phone the whole time. So and then yeah, just really refocus on God. And I put Matthew 11 in here. It says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." And I really just love that because these social media sites or whatever aren't going to give you satisfaction or fulfillment. Only God will. And so that constant chase you have for the dopamine hits or whatever content, those aren't going to do anything for you. And the only person that's actually going to satisfy that is God and not your phone. So, questions?
So, a couple things. One, um, yeah, it's kind of like common knowledge now, all the dopamine stuff, right? These apps, platforms, like everything is designed to give us that immediate gratification, right? Like notifications or the little red circles and all that stuff, right? What I've seen recently is a lot of apps that are trying to either help you manage your screen time or um, the comment that okay, so for instance, like I get advertisements all the time with all these apps where it's like TikTok, but for philosophy, it's Instagram, but for research or whatever, and it's basically just another platform. Only they're trying to cater a little more to more substantial content, maybe. I haven't really like gone in for any of them because I'm not sure what to make of all that. So help me think about that. It seems like they're trying to use the dopamine stuff only in a more positive direction, where like it's the same concept. Like you get this immediate hit of dopamine, you get this immediate gratification. Only it can be immediate gratification for something beneficial, for something good. What do you think about that?
I mean, I feel it depends on like the perspective you take it on. Because like if it's like a TikTok for philosophers, I would say yeah, that'd probably be decent. But the problem is you have the issue of like and anyone could probably post anything on that. They're not gonna like fact check you or anything. And like those philosophers, I mean, are you like they might have enjoyment in reading through all that stuff, and that might amuse their brain just to scroll through that stuff and keep on going with that. I guess I don't know. I feel like if it is beneficial, I mean, it's kind of a situational thing because I don't.
Well, I guess that's my question: is like, is it beneficial? Like, if you're trying to get a different result, the same mechanism, the same thing that's happening. If it feels like I'm trying to prove a lesson here, I am. I'm trying to sneak one in on us. Let's think through it. Like, if you're using the same mechanism of this immediate dopamine hit is going to get you X reward. This X reward is everything you were just talking about. You know, like fear of missing out and loneliness and all this other stuff, right? Okay, so well, if we can just switch that to where now you get the dopamine hit because hey, you got a new article to read. Cool. What do you think about that?
And I feel like a lot of people wouldn't like get a dopamine hit from that. I feel like that's very little like geographic of people. It's like I want it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
be real. I mean, a lot of people want it. They want to use that social media for those mindless scrolls and not for something positive. And I
Right.
feel like that really affects the way that you're trying to go about it because it's that's just not gonna like be successful if that
Yeah.
makes any sense. No one's
Yeah.
gonna do it.
So like one of the big examples that I've seen is different Bible apps. One thing to have an app where you can have your Bible on your phone anytime you want. It's interesting to me though, like why does my Bible app want me to create a social media post for my devotions this morning? Why is it pushing me? Well, why is it getting me a note? It's really convenient when it sends me an alarm to say, hey, it's time to read your Bible and everything. Um, it's a different feel whenever it's so and so is also reading the Bible and like y'all can read together and it's okay. I'm just not sure what to make of all that other than the fact that maybe this is something that an app's not going to help us with. Does that make
Well, I
sense?
mean, like with that point, it's back to like the whole algorithm talk, to where they're making you want to click on that and like be in that app because that's making them revenue. Even though, yeah, it is a Bible app, they still make money, and that's just a way to keep interaction, keep people in there. Because I mean, if you see your friend, oh, I want to go read the Bible with my friend too, and need more interaction, and then you're in the app, and then bang, they make more money. So that's the whole strategy behind it, and that's why it's so bad because everyone's wanting
Cool. I'll shut up for a minute. Yes, do y'all have any comments or questions for
that. Oh God. Yep. Now I am. Wasn't at first, but now I am.
So I had a question about that, and we'll talk. Like I'm trying to go a similar route with my son. So what's the message? Like I feel like as his dad, I can tell him, I can try to tell him, hey man, I'm dealing with teenagers every day, and it's like half of them their life is screwed up because of social media. The other half are frustrated because they can't have it yet. It's like, maybe you just shouldn't have it yet. And I know and I just straight up tell him like, there are things you're going to miss out on, but you got to trust your dad when I'm telling you. I feel like whatever you're missing out on is not worth what I'm saving you from. And there's also something in me where it's like, yeah, but he's gonna get it at some point, so I feel like I have to prepare him for it. You know, like at some. So, what would, as a senior in high school, what would your message be to a next year freshman who's just frustrated with his dad because everybody else has all this stuff and I don't?
More like just really think about your future. I mean, I know it's hard because especially like for a freshman, you feel like you're on top of the world. You feel like you know everything. I mean, you're in high school, so you feel old. like that was my problem is I felt like I was old enough to have it. I felt like I was mature enough, but in reality, I wasn't. And it's like you're gonna learn so many new things growing up, and even just in those 4 years. And those social media, it's gonna just be a temptation, and it's gonna be harmful no matter what. I mean, no matter what you say, even if you do have good intentions, it's just the easiest platform for Satan to just twist something or try and get you to like something. Or it's so easy, and then also it's like you're secluded by yourself. You're making your own decisions, and like it's just super dangerous. And I just, again, it's really about focusing on the future, which is really hard because, like, again, me, I was complaining like almost every week to him that I wanted social media. But it's definitely, I feel like if you can try and talk to him and be like, it's going to be worth it and I'm doing the right thing for you, then if he understands, he does. If not, I mean, it's just, again, it's hard to realize when you're that young because, I mean, you just don't understand. But I mean, now that I'm 18 and I mean, I definitely understand why. So I just feel like that's really it.
I'm saying,
Maybe.
listen, like I know y'all are on your way out, right? Like y'all are thinking about better things. Um, when all of us old people are telling y'all about the legacy that you leave behind, we're not just talking about like the gift that y'all collectively get for the school, and we're not just talking about like your reputations as far as like how many activities you did and how successful you were, all that stuff. Um, I got skin in the game on this one because my kids interact with some of y'all, and y'all interact with some of them. It makes my heart happy. I try not to make too. I know I talk about my kids. I'm not. Here's what I do spare you from. It makes my heart happy when my son comes home and tells me that some big kid he doesn't know the name of gave him a fist bump in the hallway because that makes his day just a little bit better and it makes him a little more sure of himself. It makes my heart happy when my daughter comes home telling me about some girl that she interacted with that wow she's doing this and that she's probably the best at my by the way if you ever interact with my daughter you're automatically the best at whatever y'all interacted with. So like Samantha's the best stage crew manager ever because she's also the only one Ashlyn's ever interacted with. Sophia's the best volleyball player ever because Ashlyn's the only one Ashlyn's ever interacted. All I'm saying is like all the old people in your life telling you that you are making an impact. We're not just blowing smoke at you. Like it's a thing. Okay? So yeah, in the last couple months you got here, maybe take advantage of that. On this stuff, yes, but like on everything in general. Classmates, I got one more thing, but like classmates, I want to open it up to y'all. Y'all got anything for questions, comments? Is there general agreement on what we're saying here? Here's why I'm asking that question. I interact with older folks than me, and there's a lot of negative talk about kids these days. And I'm very happy to have those conversations because in my experience, my students this is a common phrase from Satterfield. My students have oftentimes a better relationship with their phone than their parents do. You know, present company excluded, I'm sure, but um, I find that like y'all tend to have a better, or at least a more realistic relationship with social media with your devices than at least people my age. Like we're just y'all seem to have a better grasp of hey, the facts are in. This isn't good for us. We really need to think deeply. Is that what I'm hearing here? Is there just kind of consensus? Yeah, we're all about this. What else you got? Anything?
Yeah, well, I mean, really, it's just kind of a false understanding of loneliness because, like, whenever I was feeling lonely, I'm sure you did too. My friends would be like texting on Snapchat or like talking together on Snapchat, and I would like be like, "Oh, no one's texting me." I'd open my phone, no notifications, that type of stuff, and so I felt like there was nobody there. But in reality, I had a lot of friends, and all of them cared about me, and I hung out with them a lot. It's really just like, again, it's hard to understand when you're that age, but it's like a false view of being lonely or having company is definitely like whatever messages you're receiving or interacting with people. So I mean, I really would say like don't really focus on the phone aspect of interactions and focus on more of the real life and like your friends and that type of stuff.
And it's kind of warped the like the perception of kind of warped the perception of the social dynamic because again, like I don't know, I'm sure things have changed. When I was coming up though, it's like man, the dude that was just like shadowing, ghosting everybody, the dude that was like couldn't get him to a party because he's cool to be there kind of a thing. It's like the less you heard from him, the more mysterious. Oh, that's that guy. He maybe showed up. He actually showed up this time, you know. Versus now, it's like, well, man, if I don't show up to this thing, it's weird how it's worked. Just how we perceive. That's a really good statement. The perception of because I'm not engaged in this activity, I don't have friends. That's a really I would say it's a lie, but I'm not sure who's telling it.
Well, that's how I felt. I mean, that's exactly how I felt the whole time. So definitely.
Preston, you got something?
Do you think it's more of social media being bad or people just having a lack of self control and not blocking themselves and not looking at it? Like social media is just so bad where it just forces.
I mean, I think it's kind of both. I think the social media aspect, I have a statistic somewhere. I can't remember, but there was one study that was done, and it said that, like, yeah, here it is 53% of young adults admit to feeling like they cannot control how much they use social media. So I feel like that's really terrifying almost. But, like, it's not necessarily the people. I mean, I feel like it kind of is, but these apps are so designed to hook you in, like with their algorithms, and like the TikTok algorithm is literally insane, and so it's so designed to hook you in that, I mean, I guess it is the person's fault for not controlling themselves, but it definitely doesn't help that they're just wanting money and revenue and likes and everything. So I feel like it kind of goes both ways.
Well, and this goes to like your project with the gambling stuff, right? Like, here's this thing that is incredibly addicting and incredibly dangerous. So one wonders whether or not you should be involved in it at all, right? Like, if there's that high of a risk, like, what's the benefit to it? And I think that's like a really healthy exercise to go through for all of you, not just with your social media, with anything you're getting involved in. Hey, that looks pretty fun. Okay, pump the brakes. What's the cost? Like, what's the trade-off? Right? Anything else? Okay, I got to get to my last one. So you, I'm sorry, dude. Oh yeah, my bad. Go ahead, Sarah.
Like you're saying, like how are they going to learn if they don't have it? Yeah. No, so pretty much like for me, again, it goes back to the foundation. And so I believe that if your kid has a good foundation, strong foundation, whether that be in God, which I hope it would be, but like just knowing what's good and what's not. I feel like social media isn't a one-time thing. Like you're not going into it being like, oh, this is like a game. It doesn't have like rules or like specific things that happen. It's just random. It's completely random. That's why it's so addicting. And so I feel like you need to have a good foundation in general, and then you can approach social media in a different way. Because I feel like it's more about the like how you take the information you're being given or the entertainment you're being given, rather than like knowing how to use it. If that makes any sense. If I answered your question at all.
To add to that, I'm glad that y'all are having a good conversation about like your own personal like, and I'm glad that you're like you said, we're all just like, yeah, of course it's not. It's interesting to me like how much of this just immediately falls back on parenting. Like another side of this coin, not really to Owen's project, but like there's this whole dimension to this thing where the person making most of the decisions during that early part of the life, a lot of it comes down to whether or not the parents really know what's up. And then it becomes a matter of I know some of the best advice I've ever gotten was coming up with some sort of contract or some sort of plan. We don't call it a contract, but some sort of plan where the expectations. My kids understand that the expectations are very clear in terms of any type of technology that they've got, but like stuff in general. That the moment that they don't keep up with their end of the deal, the moment they don't keep up with their responsibilities, the moment that I find that they're trying to hide something, the moment that like that there's all these catches where, hey, if you don't show me that you're taking responsibility with this, as a parent, that actually makes my job a little more difficult because frankly, it's easy to just shove a device in their hand and just let that be that. Yeah, like why is the mom even there? The kid's good. Like you can get 5 hours of peace and quiet out of that.
Sorry, I just blew right past that note.
But to the point is like, yeah, it takes a lot of intentional parenting. Christian, you got something?
Just like very general. Like I think it's more of like a kind of like a response, like just put out. It might have been on social media. I can't remember where exactly I got that from. Posts.
But it's gonna help with social media.
Like, what do you mean by that?
Like it's gonna help.
I think it's gonna make it worse, or at least from my experience. Because when I did have a girlfriend, we were sending each other, like whatever, like TikTok videos or whatever, and so it'd keep me on the app longer. And so, I mean, I guess, but sometimes that can be a good thing. Because again, all social media isn't bad. Because I mean, it can be a way to bond with people, but I feel like there's more cons than pros. But with that situation, I mean, like if you're just like sharing videos or something, if it's not like too like crazy or you're not just on it all day, I mean, I think it's fine. But then again, like a lot of it comes down to like the perfect life. Like a lot of people show their relationships and like, oh, this is a perfect relationship. Oh, look how happy I am. And in reality, it's not. And so I do think that is something to do with it.
And for whatever it's worth, that doesn't change. Because you got some full grown people on there and it looks really, really good on mine. And then the next thing you know, it's like you find a picture of a dude and it's like, hey, that's not his wife. Wait, what? You got to scroll back a few weeks and there's this gap of time where what do you know? They're not posting pictures for a year and a half. Can you tell that this is something wildly specific? Anyway, just so you know, it doesn't change, unfortunately. Last call. Anybody else got anything? Yes, sir.
I just want to. Most people probably have a phone that's got a logo on it. Piece of fruit with a bite out of it. What's that go back to? Adam and Eve, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
Pastor
Greatest
Christ.
lie ever uttered.
Oh,
You're missing out. And that's on everybody's phone. On most people's computers. You're missing out. Greatest lie ever told.
Anything else? Last call? All right, good job, Owen.